the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit, but my hand.
G'day Tiger fans and welcome to Talking Tigers, Richmond's live official weekly podcast where the Tigers ran into a red-hot St Kilda team on Saturday night. But as they say, a week is a long time in football and we can't wait to take on the Lions Sunday arvo at Etihad Stadium. As expected, Tone and JB, the critics, they've had their say over the last few days. We'll analyse that today. And I'm going to take the new ball and push off the fence in my rant. Oh, I've had enough of something. I can't wait, Tone. In fact, Tone's taking aim today as well. He's got a little bit to say. Lou's going to be in for his VFL report. Another good win there from the players, and there's plenty of boys there pushing for selection. Lou will be all over that. Boys, welcome. Good to be here.
Yes, it is. After what was a nightmare on Saturday night, but anyway. The song, I'm a big Bob Marley fan, but what was that song?
Well, that's Redemption Song.
Ah, because that's what we're seeking on
Sunday.
Yes,
I think we will be. I think everyone will be pretty red hot on Sunday afternoon.
As you've said, it's how you respond to something like that that's the important thing.
That is. You can get involved, as always, with the show. Hashtag Talking Tigers. Or hashtag Stump Greeners. We've got him a little bit lately. Rhett Bartlett got you the other week, and I've got a special hello here. We've got young Bailey here today sitting around the desk.
Bailey's doing a bit of work experience.
Bit of work experience.
Very good.
So good to have Bailey along, boys.
Learn a lot. You learn a lot.
Me
today.
too.
Yep. Oh no, it was a shocker. It was a shocker.
Didn't see it coming, did we? They did everything they did went.
Yes, it all turned to gold for them. It did indeed. But no, we were right from the start. We were just gave away a couple of 50 metres and just was sloppy and just sort of evolved sadly from there. But
it's funny how a lot of people jumped off after one game, didn't they?
Oh, it's extraordinary. So in the week leading up to the game, people were even talking about us as potentially, going all the way or whatever, but geez, they jump off quickly.
Yeah, and if you have a look at this season, JP, every team has been towed up at some stage this season. Well, I'm talking every team.
Yep.
Yeah, the team that actually hasn't been really thumped in a game is Collingwood.
Yeah, and they've only won 5 games.
Yeah. So that's the sort of season it is. Yeah, it wasn't a great result. There's no excuses being made, but gee, maybe have a look at the body of work over 15 rounds than just have a crack at 1 week.
And it's a bit like the old saying, whatever, you're never as good as you think you are, but it's never as bad. And we didn't win the grand final in round 15.
No.
And we didn't lose it in round 16. So the only thing to take out of last weekend is we get another chance this weekend.
And it needs to be a strong response,
I think so. That's the only way.
And
it's funny how a few people last week, I specifically remember some commentators talking about our draw and saying that our draw was reasonable over the run home. It's funny, a week later everyone's saying we've got a tough draw. What is it? Is it one or the other?
It's bizarre. So I'm watching all the footy shows last night. So I watch on the couch, and Champion Data has assessed the run home the last third of the season.
That's the easiest, isn't it?
And they said that we had the easiest.
Champion Data did.
Yeah, they said Champion Data said that we had the easiest run home, if there is such a thing.
There isn't an easy run home.
No. Then half an hour later, I'm watching Footy Classified on Channel 9, and Caro has been back from a month overseas, and she's saying how tough our draw is in the run home, right? The fact that we've got, GWS and Freo and Gold Coast and Sydney last game. So, honestly, as you say, there are no easy games at all.
No easy games.
That's right.
And surely we know that from all the upsets there's been this season. And it's actually disrespectful of media people to think that this could be a walk in the park on Sunday.
Correct.
When Essendon at the same venue 2 weeks ago at the same time.
We're towed up.
5 goals up in the last quarter, and Brisbane won. So just any media people are kidding themselves. I think it's just going to be
Everyone's got a hard draw going home.
Of course they have. There are no easy games whatsoever.
No, exactly right. Did anyone see the results out of the under-18s?
Yes, I did. What are you talking about?
Father-son potential.
Patrick
Naish named in the under-18 All-Australian side.
We're now talking top 10 pick.
Well, he averaged 21 disposals across the carnival and finished last Wednesday against the Allies at Simmons Stadiums with 26 touches. So the talk is that he might be firming in towards the top 10.
So what does that mean for us, JB, if we want to get him father and son?
It's complicated.
Do you have a degree in mathematics?
No, I don't.
No, I don't.
He
Well,
failed
basically,
plasticine at school, so yeah.
No, actually, I was all right at maths.
Were you?
Yeah, that was
your strong suit.
one of my better. There's
Okay.
Rhett Bartlett now walking in. He would be one man who would understand
Of
it.
course
Rhett
he would.
Bartlett.
Of course he would. Yeah.
Well, say at the moment,
Father-son rule. Patrick Nash, Rhett. We're just talking about that.
well, as we know, based on last year's trade period, we have 2 first-round picks, so
Yes.
ours and also Geelong's, which we got from GWS.
Yep.
They have a points tally. So, for instance, this is all working on hypotheticals as of right now in round 16. So, the example that Cal Toomey's given on the AFR website today was that if a bid came for Nash at pick 8, he'd be worth 1,551 points, but we get a 20% discount on him. So we would need
So it's about
1,241
yep.
points. And at the moment, with our pick 13, which is our pick, we would have 1,212 points. So we would get him with that and still have our other first-round pick,
Right.
which is tied to Geelong, which is pick 16.
Sorry, you lost me after you said that he made the All-Australian team.
Yeah, I'm losing myself.
It used to be easy, the father and son
But
rule.
if a pick
Yeah.
comes in lower than pick 8, as it stands at the moment, we wouldn't have enough points with our first pick. So we would then need to go into our second pick,
Right.
or under the live bidding system, we would need to go into next year's account pretty much. So we're buying him on
no,
credit
that's-
at the
They've
moment.
made it-
Was it as difficult
made
as
it
that
in-
when you were father?
No,
It's made it
Richard?
incredibly hard. It used to just be your last pick. I was Richmond's last pick in the 92 draft.
It should just be automatic. If
you
you're,
reckon?
it should be automatic. It all pans out. If your father's played one game at a club, you can go there.
And no points.
Oh, maybe
system.
50 games, no points or anything.
There's gotta be
maybe
some
make
sort
it,
of-
Okay, we'll make it 50 games, and that's it.
Yeah.
It used to be 50, then it was 100.
I'm
Whatever.
just glad we're
Go
getting
back
a
to
father
50.
and son
Yeah.
finally.
Anyway, he can play.
Yeah.
He's obviously very, very good skills.
Half back, half
and he's
forward.
quick. Well,
Yeah.
he actually made he was a midfielder in the All Australian team. So yeah,
He's only going to get better too.
yeah, absolutely.
And
He's
he'd
got
be
plenty
our
of ability.
first, if we
Since
took him.
Tommy Roach.
That's right. Yep.
First since Tommy, is it?
Yeah.
Gee.
Yeah.
His dad was a good little player, Knuckles.
Yeah,
Chrissy
very good
Nash.
player. Ooh,
Good mark for his size too,
95,
Nashy.
95 semi-final against Essendon.
Oh, yeah. Him and Nick Daffy.
Got us going.
They
didn't
did.
it? Yeah, they got us going.
Sounded like Mark Opie there, our team manager.
Yeah, no, I did. Yeah.
What do you,
I
look
just
at your
want to talk
rundown
about,
tone
I am.
every week.
Well, TT's own. I just want to talk about TT's own because there was one.
He's not
obviously-
in today, by
He's
the
not
way.
in today, Sean Grigg, and it was obviously amid the gloom of Saturday night. He just stood out. His consistency this season has been fantastic. The last 9 games, he's had 20-plus disposals.
You know what you're going to get out of Griggy every week, and that's
He's
what
just
you want.
Mr. Consistency,
Yeah.
and he never stopped. He just worked his backside off, just running hard to try and lift us against obviously overwhelming odds on Saturday night. So yeah, just wanted to pay tribute to. He's
not
you go on, sorry.
Not only has he lifted the team this year,
Yep.
he's lifted this very podcast.
As if it needed.
Well,
lifting.
it didn't need.
This
Bailey's
is a
looking at
podcast-
us like
this is a-
self-congratulating ourselves
This is a
here.
podcast juggernaut, Bailey, as you would know. And
But did you see we made the Herald Sun last
we
week?
did. Scotty Gullen's column.
Scotty Gullen's
You know
just
you've
as-
made it when Scotty Gullen, you're in his column, don't you? You know you've made it.
He was talking about the Glad Rap Bandit.
So
Yeah.
I wonder if we've caught up with him yet.
Yeah, and he's talking about George's rehab on his
Yeah,
ankle,
yeah.
getting treatment on the wrong ankle. Yeah, and then the bromance, the top bromance is
Yeah,
at Tigerland.
yeah.
So, no, it's very good.
Well,
Anyway,
Marcus Orr tweeted in using hashtag Talking Tigers saying, I hope the whole team will be in the studio so they all play as well as Sean Grigg this weekend.
Yeah.
But Grigg won't be here himself, but
no.
Our boy, he's here
It's a good
early today.
reflection.
Lou, you're
He's
here a bit
rock-
early,
he looks
mate.
like a rock star with those, hey?
He
The club.
swabbled in with the sunnies on, old Lou. Have a look at him. He must have been out to North Melbourne
weekend.
again on the weekend. Hey? Oh, boy.
Oh dear, Now, we need to make mention. I know he's not a Richmond player. We need to make mention. Luke Hodge
He
yesterday.
was a Richmond supporter.
A mad Richmond supporter growing up. Absolutely idolised our man Rich
I
over
had
there.
a photo with Hodge. We've said this on TPT
Yeah.
before. I was down at Colac once, where he's from, doing a footy clinic when he was a kid, and had a photo
Had
with
the
Luke
number
Hodge.
12. He had the number 12 on his back.
Pity
He
we didn't
idolised you.
recruit him,
I know,
hey,
I know.
Hodgie?
So don't-
What a
but
champion.
And what sort of an opponent was he? Because you would have come up against him a few times.
Just a ruthless competitor. He
Even
is-
from a young age. wasn't
Yeah,
he?
right from the start, you knew that you were up against a player when you played on Luke Hodge, like a Glenn Archer. They just had that intensity when they got out on the ground, but a great leader out on the ground. You watched him out there. He had all the game
Yep.
in his sights. He knew what was happening in the game, and he could direct his team around it. He was a champion.
Potentially, you think that he'd make a very good coach down the track
If he wanted to.
If he wanted
well,
to.
You saw that the audio
in
of him?
Adelaide.
Like that night,
that was like playing coach.
Two
wasn't it?
Friday nights ago. Like he's like a coach on the ground, isn't he?
Yeah, he will be hot property.
Surely every club would call his manager
for as an assistant initially,
and
definitely.
we should as well.
Oh, you'd think he'd be
just
hot
to
property.
sound him out.
Definitely.
I think he might work in the media though, Tone.
Yeah, he might.
Yeah.
Just have a year off and work.
I think
there.
one of the best things about him was what he said when he learned his most from those losing teams in 2011 when they lost the prelim and then the grand final the year after, that he went away and just thought about everything and then came back in 13, 14, 15 and won the three-peat. So he learnt more from his losses than what he'd done beforehand. So.
And the thing that says a lot about him as a player, in all of those grand final wins, he voted in the Norm Smith every year.
Yeah.
He got votes every year. He didn't win it every year, obviously, but he was in the votes. He won 2 and was in the votes the other 2, JB.
No, he's one of the greats of the game.
If you play well in grand finals, you obviously know what the game's all about.
No, definitely one of the greats of the modern era.
Loves a frothy too, Hodgie. You can have them now.
Speaking of
frothies.
Speaking of greats, right?
Frothies.
One of the greats of the our media, football media,
Who?
is Mark Fine on
Finey.
Finey. We love Finey on SEN, right?
What are we talking about Finey for?
Well, Finey was in vintage form a week or so back, and we've got a little bit of audio of Finey.
Are we just playing this to get us up, are we?
Just because I need this to get me up. Finey at his very, very best.
By the way, this mental midget who keeps SMSing me and saying F this and you're a C that and whatever, I'm not Roko. So, you've got plenty of advice, but you can't even work out who's talking. You're either drunk on drugs or just a tard, so piss off.
That was funny. Mark 1.
That's Mark 1. Don't tell me he got worse than that, did he?
Well, a lady came up to give him a lady rang up next to give him some advice, and this was the response.
Hillary's in Croydon. Hello, Hillary.
Hello, how are you?
Good, Lee.
I'm sick to death of hearing about this bug thing. We know what happened. Can't we get off it?
I can. Let's move on.
There's plenty of other players. I mean, you barrack for St Kilda.
What's that good? Oh, they weren't playing tonight.
Played for St Kilda.
Oh, piss off, Hillary. Let's go to Daniel on the road.
How does he get away with it?
How does he do it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
He remains on air, though.
So that was another SEN program off the bench that we're talking about it, but he's just, that gets me up. Anyway.
He loves to get in an argument, doesn't he?
He does. He thrives on an argument. Anyway.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Well,
you've got mail.
We love interaction with our fans.
Yes.
I don't think I'd
we
ever
won't
go down
that path. No.
Finey. Oh, we did get an email in from Brock Heaney, who's Brock Solid on Twitter, so he's gone a bit deeper after Saturday night's game. He gives all credit to the Saints. They were all over us.
They were.
He took a bit of solace in the fact that we got the final margin down to 67.
Yeah,
I think you have to, because it would have been easy for it to blow out to 100 points.
I threw a garden party after that.
It was actually important.
Celebrate.
I don't think you did.
It was important to...
No, you're right. In this season, that's true.
It could have been so critical to the percentage.
It was looking like... It was looking like a 20-goal-plus belting at one stage.
So he read a lot of things on Twitter about people switching off because the team wasn't performing. Not him. After a 12-hour day of work, he watched right until the final siren because he knows everyone who pulls on the yellow and black Guernsey has pride in it. They just had an off game and they didn't perform. And he reckons that's behind us now. So this week he wants everybody to turn up, and the proof will be in the pudding on how we respond. So we encourage everybody to get to Etihad this Sunday as we face Brisbane, and we'll whip through a couple of tweets.
Yes. Hashtag Talking Tigers. Don't forget, Stump Greeners too. Want to give some TTTs away.
I do have a Stump Greeners, actually, from Brent Allen off the top of my head. He wanted to know, well, Barmy played for Richmond, obviously.
Yes.
Who was the other club that he played for out of Western Australia?
Played for Subiaco.
Simple.
There you go. You're not going to get him with something that easy.
Do you want to know who he coached in South Australia?
Woodville, West Torrens.
Woodville, West Torrens, and he coached Norwood.
Yep.
And Melbourne. In the AFL.
Yeah, Melbourne.
You're not going to get Greeners with something that easy.
That's right.
If you want to stump Greeners,
it's got to be a little bit.
We might give you a crack, Barley. Think of a question before the end of the show. We'll give you a T-shirt.
Yeah, all right.
All right.
See what we can come up with.
Anyway, a couple of tweets have come through from Tiger Lynn and Rhett himself, actually. One was the chief on the green stuff at Friday training. Matt Rogers has brought a school group in.
Mini Hands Rogers. Was Mini Hands here?
Mini.
And the other was from Rhett, chief on the green stuff at the Bendigo Thunder game.
Well, just watch this
I don't know whether that's been unnoticed.
Dear, oh dear.
Ash Rodriguez saying, gee, you'd think we'd lost our last 10 games in a row by 80 points the way some are carrying on. But we've got 7 games to go. David Millett saying St Kilda were incredible on Saturday night. We were totally outplayed and a couple of Silly 50 metres killed us early.
Yeah, and we do have to play them again. Let's remember.
We
round
do.
23.
Gee, that could. Oh no, it could be. It could almost come down to that game.
Who knows?
You never know.
Jess Benson wants to know: do you think it's time with Milesy tearing it up in the VFL?
Yeah, I think
it's
it is
time to look to him.
Well, he didn't play on the weekend
No,
because
yes,
Lou will tell us all about the VFL, but I think
Who's the
Milesy.
carryover
I
player?
think
Yeah.
he deserves a game, Milesy.
And I don't think he should be penalised for being the first emergency by not playing.
Well, he should be rewarded for being the first emergency.
Well, obviously contested, but we can go on a bit later. But it's been a bit of an issue the last couple of weeks.
We've lost it the last few, so I reckon that will be a focus this week.
Can find the pill, can't he?
Yeah.
And finally, a shout out to Trent McDonald, who has a baby girl on the way. Had the
good on
baby
you,
shower on the weekend. And look at all the Tiger gear.
Yeah.
Now,
So
just on that, how far is
32
Jen?
weeks now.
32. Well, it could be any time.
So he's basically saying that he's going to give me a bit of that baby gear, is he? Tiger's baby gear.
I think so, yeah, after he's used it. And
Oh, thanks,
finally,
Trent.
one from the tail who always tweets in, he's expecting an emphatic response this week. Nothing less is good enough. So let's hope we bring it.
Yep,
Yep.
for sure.
Good work, JB. Sharp today, JB.
So.
No, he's sharp.
Bailey's here, that's why.
That's right. And the cameras aren't on.
No.
Hey,
You're not really...
Dave, stop talking through my sting.
I haven't said a thing yet.
This is my sting. Hey, the Chief. Well, thanks for those tweets that our loyal listeners tweeted in. Hashtag Talking Tigers. As they said, as Rep Bartlett said, and I think it was it Ash Rodriguez?
No, Lynn.
Tiger Lynn. He was on the green stuff again, but I'm not going to go into it too much. I'm just going to play this audio, which was on our website on the weekend when we streamed the Bendigo Thunder women's game, which is our aligned women's team at the moment. We streamed the game on our website. Just have a listen to this audio.
Fascinating that Brendan Gale, the CEO of the Richmond Footy Club, is out there. There's a few of the marketing guys. They're into it. Look at Brendan Gale. I think he looks as though he wants to coach.
Well, Brendan was just standing with me observing the girls, and he's like, who's number 10? Gee, she's all right. And Simon Matthew goes, geez, we want that girl. When's her draft year? And it's Cody Jackson. We had her
16,
down here. Yeah, we had her down here on Monday for a come and try day, and she certainly impressed a few of the big dogs down at Richmond.
So that was Sconzi. Was that Kate Sheehan? Yeah, that was Kate Sheehan on our website. Now, Brendan, how many times on Talking Tigers, Tone, have we brought up the fact we don't want you out on the green stuff?
Countless times.
You can't get out there.
No.
Now, even our live stream there on the weekend noticed he wasn't just standing around listening. He was in the huddle.
I think Kate sounded a little bit embarrassed.
She
really,
was.
didn't she? I mean, she's observed it now.
He was actually inside the huddle trying to coach the team as well. Like, come on, Brendan.
But
this is the final warning.
But what was he wearing?
A trench coat.
Oh no!
And if
He's
you have a
still
look
got
at
the trench coat
if
on.
you have a look at Rep Bartlett's tweet,
Yeah.
you will be able to see Brendan in the huddle with
When the
GR's trench coat on.
with number 25 on the back.
Yes.
Oh look, Roland will be beside himself.
So at least there's photographic proof
Just
now that
ridiculous.
he still has the trench coat.
It's beyond a joke. Now.
Get off the green stuff and return the trench coat, please.
That was good, Richard.
But everyone's hanging on this.
No, not really.
Because this is the highlight of the show.
That actually is pretty important this week because there's a different...
Actually, this is why Lou got here early.
Yeah, for club news.
He's got here for club news.
Just to hear the sting.
There's a different different policy this year at Etihad
Is there?
Stadium. So members who have Etihad reserved seats included in their membership must register for a seat for this Sunday's game against Brisbane at Etihad. The information should have been emailed to you, or the steps are available on the Game Day Hub page on our website. So,
What about if you just want to stand?
well, then you can get a general admission ticket.
Okay. Well,
And of course, it being a Sunday game, kids get in for free via general admission this weekend via Ticketmaster.
Okay.
But if you're an adult as well and you want to purchase a GA ticket, maybe just hold off until tomorrow, 12 p.m. Wednesday.
Yeah.
Excuse me, and watch our Facebook page because I think we'll be having a bit of a 12-hour free general admission for adults this Sunday.
Oh,
Wow.
Good. That's huge.
And for the game, if you've got any issues, contact our membership team on 1300 742 466 or visit them at the game day at the Club Hub on game day outside Gate 5.
And after a couple of weeks, we're back in the proper jumper this week, aren't we?
Are we?
Yep.
Yeah, well, we would be.
Yeah.
We would be,
Yeah,
yes.
for
It's
sure.
our home game. And finally, the
Bit of
the
medical
injury
room
list.
or not?
Yeah, we do. We have. We just put out before on our website.
Yeah.
3 players facing fitness tests this week.
Yeah.
To be right to go.
Yeah.
Dylan Grimes out of the concussion with Tim Embry.
Geez, that was brave too, wasn't it?
Oh,
It was a great mark. So
He's
very
pretty
brave.
lucky, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
well, it is. We're gonna because we play Sunday. Today's only Tuesday, so there's a fair bit of time between
I think he'll be
actually
all right.
taking the field. So
I think he'll be all
I
right.
think he'll come up.
I think
So
he'll be
he
all right.
faces a test. Ben Lennon, after his hamstring, will also face a fitness test. And the big one is Ben Griffiths.
Yeah?
Is facing a fitness
Well,
test.
wouldn't it be great to get Benny back?
Yep, so he'll train with the VFL team this week, and if he gets through that,
play
he'll
VFL.
line up in the VFL side
Yep.
up against Werribee
At
in Frankston on Saturday.
We have to ask Lou why
Why?
that's happening. That
We'll
is
find
bizarre.
out.
Where he's playing at
Why are
Frankston.
they?
I don't know. Not sure.
That's weird.
Well, Lou will know.
Hey,
It's on the nose.
hey, Bailey's. Sorry, Scott. Bailey's dad and brother have just joined us now as well.
Yeah,
Good to have you here, guys. Think of it. We need you to think of a question to stump Greeners on Richmond history. So have a look around.
Yeah, just something.
There's a TTT on the line for Bailey. So there you go. I'm not mad with Bailey or his dad and brother for coming
What are
in.
you mad at?
I'm mad at a particular ex-player.
He's not
Of ours.
Not
What?
Richmond.
He's not a teammate, a colleague of yours, is he?
He is.
He's a colleague.
I don't work with him, but he
Have
works.
you given this bloke a whack a few
I
weeks
have,
ago
yeah,
as
Kane
well?
Corns. Come
Another
on.
whack.
Cornsy, fair dinkum.
Another whack. He hates Richmond.
It's actually just obvious now.
It's
Like footy classified again last night.
it's worse than Damien Barrett.
He doesn't like Richmond, Cornsy,
Well,
and
Mike's
he's made it.
No, Mike's all right now.
I
now
think
that
he's
Kate's
letting
out.
it cloud his judgment a little bit.
You reckon?
I just reckon it's a very easy thing to say. It's a very easy thing to say. Oh, they didn't come, or they got ahead of themselves. They didn't come to play. What does that actually mean?
Don't know.
We just played poorly,
Don't know.
and
Yeah,
every
I-
team this year has had a game where they've played poorly. And we'll see how we respond this week. Maybe if we don't play well this week, maybe Cornsey can come out and say that we've got ahead of ourselves. But fair dinkum, 13 out of 14 games Richmond had turned up. In fact, 14 out of 14 they turned up because they actually won the first quarter
by
against
about
Adelaide.
4 goals.
So it was the first time. Now, surely a team doesn't get ahead of themselves when you look how even this competition is. No one would be that stupid. No team would be that stupid to get ahead of themselves, whatever that means. So, Cornsey, it's obvious you don't like Richmond.
Well, you reckon it wasn't getting on Mike Quince watching him filling in for Gary Lyon last night on Classified next to Caro, who was getting stuck into us, who's been away for a month, mind you, right? A month. And saying, and Caro saying, well, who has Richmond actually beaten this year? And went through it all. Well, we've won 9 games in such an even season that, as we say, no game is easy. So if you bank 9 wins at this stage, that's a reasonable effort, I would have thought.
So
But anyway.
we had one bad game. And it's just amazed me, some of the...
make sure we respond.
Some of the people and some of the things they're saying. So,
Strongly on
Cornsey,
Sunday.
you just don't like Richmond. It's
No,
obvious.
don't. It's just come out and admit it. I hate them. Just get him to say it. Well, then we'd all know and we'd be comfortable with that. Playing, games about it and everything. Just come out and say, I hate them. Anyway.
Been top secret.
This is very top secret, this, yeah. And I'm sorry, I was going to come up with another sting, but being in the mood that I've been in all week, I actually need a bit of this quieter music.
Yeah.
It hasn't been great.
Bailey
I don't
can't
feel
wait
like
for this segment.
Oh, this is huge. Now, this is my top 10. Right now, you might recall last week, in the spirit of 67, that I referred to the postcode system that had been established 50 years ago in 1967.
Grigor did go and tell the boys, I think.
Did he?
He said he was
Of
going
course,
to.
of course, because it was...
He delivered.
yeah.
Maybe
Boom,
that's
boom,
what-
the postcode.
That's
Yeah,
right,
very
that's
good.
right, yep,
Them like
thanks.
the mailman.
Maybe that's what got to the boys.
Oh, right, okay. Anyway, so these are my top 10. Oh, I'll take the blame. These are my top 10 Tiger suburban boys. So, Tiger players, Richmond players, that had the same name as Melbourne suburbs. All right? And I'll go with the postcode too. So, number 1, we've got Percy Bentley, 3204. Okay, I live down near there. Of course, longest serving captain in the club's history, captain of the 32 premiership side and captain coach of 34. At number 2, we've got John Caulfield, 3162. Played 9 games in 1963. Number 3, Clayton Cameron. Clayton Cameron. He was good. Jack used to call him that all the time. Cameron Clayton, 3168, 1974 premiership player.
My uncle Roger lived in Clayton for a long
There you
time.
go, 3168. Number 4, Greg Deer Park, 3023. 53 games from 94 to 96. Number 5 is Mark McLeod, 3085, 3 games in 1989.
Ben Lennon territory.
Yes. Number 6 is Dean Notting Hill, 3168. Great pub, the Knot, too, Notting Hill.
Yeah, good pub.
Real good pub. 28 games
Stewie
in
Maxfield
85,
used to go
87.
out there.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Real good.
Yeah.
Get a great counter. I think you still get a good counter out there. Number 7 is Alan Oakley, 3166, 39 games from 1928 to 31. Number 8 is Andy Preston, 3072, 18 games for 82 and 83. Hard as a cat's head.
Good mate of BT's, Andy Preston.
Is that right?
The old weather.
Hard as a cat's head. Yeah. Number 9 is John Richmond, 3121.
Johnny Richmond.
No relation to Graham?
No relation, and had a good pub in Hobart, Johnny
Is that
Richmond.
right?
The Shamrock in Hobart.
Okay, the Shamrock, 18 games, 61 to 64. And number 10, rounding it out, of course, is Brian Taylor's Lakes, 3038, 43 games, 156 goals. So there you go.
You can't add it on.
Why?
Taylor's Lakes. You are an absolute peanut. What about Brisbane this week, boys? What's crucial?
Well, do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you go.
I would say that Dane Zorko
Must be tagged.
Has to be tagged. He is red hot at the moment. He's just in great form.
He
obviously.
got 9 coaches' votes in a team that lost one, what?
Yeah.
80 points.
85 points or something, yeah.
35
He's having a
4.
great season, kicking goals as well, so he's a very dangerous player, and we need to curb his influence.
I think you need a hard tag
and
on
I would
Zorko.
thought that Kane Lambert, who's been very good for us, may go to him.
Yep.
Yeah, good.
There you go.
All right. What do you think, JB?
For me, it's Eric Hipwood's he's a good player. He's shown in his early days that against Essendon he kicked 4 goals.
Most goals by a Rising Star this year.
Yeah, well, that's right. One of your favourites. So he was crucial in getting them over the line. In his second game against us last year, he kicked 3, and earlier this year he kicked 2.
He's a very good player.
I think we can control him, but he's definitely one we have to watch.
I think we bid on Eric Hipwood.
Did we?
We actually bid on
Oh,
him. Yeah,
'cause
we were
he's
never
an
going to get
academy.
him. We were never going to get him, but yeah.
We did actually, yeah.
bid on
So
him,
he's showing a few signs that he's going to
Yeah.
be a very, very good player.
Yeah, well, I think it's just the contested ball. I would expect us to be ferocious in that area Sunday afternoon. Mm-hmm. And I think if we have a good win in the contested footy, I think the rest will take care of itself.
All right, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so I think Milesy will come in.
Maybe Towner as well.
Yeah, maybe
Or
Townsend.
Flossie too.
Nick Floston, yeah. We'll lose about to
Anyway, yep,
tell
we'll
us
find
in a
out
minute.
soon. Yep.
So, I think that's the key this week.
All right. I like that.
All right, and give us some votes then.
Votes. Oh, jeez. Well, I gave through to TT Zone for all the reasons that I mentioned before. Just the amount of ball he had.
Sean Grigg.
Sean Grigg. Well, not the other TT Zone, because although he's former own, not far from coming back.
Greg Deledio.
Apparently not far from coming back. Anyway, and Grigg also another stat. I think he's number 3 or equal 3 in the inside 50 entries in the comp. Just to show how good a season he's having. Number 2, Kane Lambert, who we mentioned before. Again, just keeps very consistent too, really consistent before. And I go one to Brandon Ellis because I thought he continued his good form. I thought he was pretty solid.
Took some
throughout.
good intercept
Yeah,
marks,
he did.
actually.
He did, yep.
I gave 3 to Dave Asprey. Now, I know the ball was in there and they kicked plenty of goals, but Dave was really good, I thought. I thought he held up pretty well considering the amount of nut that was going inside their forward line.
Yep.
And there wasn't a lot of pressure on, so it was coming in pretty quick and
Gets a
fast.
fair bit of the ball.
He gets getting plenty of the ball. Took some good marks again.
Yep.
So I just thought Dave, I gave him 3. I gave 2 to Grigger, as you said, just keeps being consistent. I gave 1 to Kane Lambert, who continues to improve and will have a big job this week, I reckon. Not that we would have any clue, but that's just our prediction.
Well, you have got no idea. Put it that way.
Similar to you, Richo, I got the same 3 players, but I gave Kane Lambert my 3 votes. I gave 2 to Sean Grigg, and I gave 1 to Dave Asprey. So
very good.
Yeah, that's good.
Very good.
So not a lot of movement at the top. For the first time in a while, Dusty didn't get any votes, but I think he was allowed to have one quiet one, to be honest.
Well, Danger's gone past him, the coaches' votes now. But
that's
anyway,
all right.
that's all right.
Dusty still winning, 76. Alex Rance is second on 43. Koch third. Griggy. TT Zone is in fourth, and he's jumped up ahead of Jack, who was in fifth. And Kane Lambert's right there as well, only 2 votes behind. So that is the top 6.
if there were stewards for the racing, I would be putting in a steward's complaint about this. My yellow and black booker last week.
Why?
Well, I don't want to have a go at them because winners are grinners and they absolutely smashed us. But seriously, so I had Dusty to win the Ian Stewart medal.
They didn't even give it out.
Well, no, because they were supposed to give it out, right? But St Kilda, I think, might have run out of medals. No, but I think they actually asked us if we could make it now for the last game, probably because it was Maddie's match and all that sort of thing. But technically, it's always the first time you play them in the season is for the Ian Stewart medal, but they wanted to push it back to round 23. So maybe I'll keep it for there.
Well,
no, Stewie was all right.
The first Maddie's match, they had the Ian Stewart medal.
Yeah, I know.
Molly
Meldrum
presented
I
it to
know,
Lids.
but they just didn't want to go with it for this week. So I'm bit unlucky.
If
so
they had
really, I was
had it,
gone. No, well, no.
Okay, right.
I was gone anyway.
So Dustin.
So this week, this week I'm going for Koch to bounce back. He hasn't had 20 touches for the last 3 games. Any of the last 3 games, I'm banking him to bounce back big time, have 25 plus disposals and multiple goals on Sunday.
Okay, good. What do you reckon, JB? You were pretty good.
No, not really. Before we go to that, I got a stump greeners from Johnny P, he's here.
Johnny P.
What is the stain on the roof in the museum? For those who we'll show it on video next time.
Yeah.
There's something growing off the roof.
Yeah,
in the
bit
museum.
of
Roland. Just get a bit of spray and wipe out, Roland.
A bit of fungal matter, I think.
Yeah.
Last week I had.
Oh, what is it?
Last week I had Sean Grigg to kick multiple goals, and he did not. Only
kick one, did
played well, though.
He did one. Only
one.
George kicked multiple goals.
Yep.
This week I've gone for Todd Elton to come into the side.
And Lou will tell us in a second.
Yeah. Ooh, he's chomping at the bit.
He is.
As a result of that, Jack Rewalt will have 5 shots at goal. With Todd Elton in the side, Jack averages 5.3 shots a goal this year.
Jeez, you've really done your homework. This is a huge
Without him, 2.9. These are scoring shots, by the way. So what Jack decides to do with those shots is up to him. But
so
he will have 5 scoring shots.
He needs Toddy Elton in the side.
He needs another tall.
Another tall, basically, yeah.
I like that. You put a real layer onto it.
Layers.
Didn't you?
Yeah.
Layers.
Multiple layers, yeah.
Hey, Johnny, you can't. You've got 3 TTTs already. You can't have another one.
And that's just a dirty rat that caused that too.
Yeah. I went with Jack to kick 5. Obviously, I didn't get that right.
No.
But this week, I think Shane Edwards is building. Obviously, had the injury. Back in the team for a month or so now, and I just thought on the weekend he was starting to build towards some good form. So I'm going to say Shane Edwards will have 25 plus disposals. I think he's going to have a big game.
Fair enough.
On Sunday against Brizzy. All right?
Okay.
And we better let our boy come and sit in. Bailey, you're just going to have to jump out there, mate.
You're looking good. You've come so far. And we know how to make the most of who you are. To let the best of men together.
With a sting like that, it can mean only one thing. It's VFL report time, and as always, we're joined by Lou Gillett. Lou, good to have you on board again, mate. How are you?
Always a pleasure to come in, Retro. Feeling pretty good after 4 wins in a row in the VFL. It's
Another
good
ripper.
times.
Now, before you get into it, mate, we mentioned your house party in North Melbourne last week. Did you?
Yes, I did.
Did you get out this weekend? Did you have a couple of pig's ears or not?
A couple of pig's ears, but a bit quieter. I went back home.
Did you?
Had a couple of drinks with the old man, who, unfortunately for me, on Saturday night, he's actually a St Kilda supporter.
No.
So it was, very, very difficult 24 hours for all Tigers fans, but especially for me, I think.
Well, the VFL was good, though, mate. Another really good performance.
The VFL, like I was saying, 4 in a row now, so that's at least something we can be happy about. And a couple of guys, you never know, who might be in AFL contention coming up this week.
Well, it's pretty big. Obviously, it's very timely because given the AFL result.
I think so,
really
yeah.
timely.
I think so. And a couple of those areas where we might be looking to bring someone in this week, maybe another key forward could come in or another midfielder we've got in. We had guys like Jacob Townsend, Todd Elton, Callum Moore, your man as well on the rookie list, playing really well also.
Anyone that has his highlights package is up on the website, well worth a look because he took some really big grabs and, geez, he's got the turn of speed too.
Yeah, he took some big hangers, and he's got good hands, like real vice-like grip on the weekend.
Vice-like grip would be the exact way I'd describe it, Richo.
Yeah.
Fantastic, and especially I think given that he's just recently been out with an ankle injury. The last time we saw him was against Williamstown. To see him have that kind of faith in his body to still, get that big leap out of him and see him take some big marks like that, he's obviously got terrific faith in his body, which coming back after an injury is fantastic to see. So I was really happy with the way Callum Moore went about it.
And similarly, Todd Alton took a few marks and kicked a few goals as well on his return. How did you see his game?
I thought he was pretty solid. His first half particularly was quite impressive, where we saw a lot from Todd Alton that he usually produces at VFL level. A couple of really strong contested marks, straight kicking as well. The second half, when it turned into a bit of a mudfest, the rain really started to come down out at Beaconsfield, so not a whole lot of scoring there done in that second half, and I think that sort of did stifle him a little bit, those conditions. Plus, they did eventually realise the threat that he did pose. But if that first half is anything to go by, he showed that he's still got his best form ready to go.
Well, they might be good timing because clearly at AFL level on the weekend, the lack of the second
was
tall,
glaring.
it really did show up. So they'll be right in contention,
No,
I'd
that's
say.
true. Yeah. So where did Todd play deep, or was he out more at centre half
No,
forward?
he's more of a centre-half forward. Deeper rotated through. Callum Moore played there a bit. Jacob Townsend as well, which was really good when he rotated out of the midfield, played a bit more forward and ended up impacting the scoreboard as well.
Can you just talk about his game, because it was an incredible game that he played. His stats were amazing.
Absolutely, and I think the last couple of weeks, if you're following the VFL, obviously all the big talk is about Anthony Miles, and fair enough, he's been in great form. But this week, with Anthony going into the AFL as the first emergency, we weren't able to rely on him, and I think particularly Jacob was one of the guys who the burden was really on to kind of perform in his absence, and ended up with 30 touches and a really solid spread across his marks, tackles and clearances, which is great to see. And also, like I say, his single goal impacting the scoreboard as well. I thought it was a really great spread of a game. When the going got tough, like I say, when it got a bit wet, it got a bit muddy, he still got in there, won a lot of contested balls.
He had double-figure tackles, didn't he, too?
Yes, 11, I think, is the stat I've got there.
Yeah. No, that's big. Yeah, no doubt about
JB
that.
looks a bit doubtful of that one.
Oh, no, I've picked up another stat sheet where he's got 14.
But 14?
Anyway, it's still double figures.
Well, Jack Graham on this one had 12 tackles as well and 25 touches.
Yeah,
he must have had another good performance.
Another very impressive one from him. He looked really at home, I thought, especially in that second half. His first half was good without being too impressive, still won a lot of the ball and was pretty good with it in hand. But it just seemed like when it turned into a bit of a sop fest, he really got out there, won a lot of contested ball, as you can see there as well. His tackle count was incredible, really. His pressure on the ball is something that's really exciting at the moment, and he's certainly, for a guy who's come off another reasonably long-term injury as well, you'd say he's really come out. Played very well in his first couple of games at VFL level and looks just about ready, I think.
It's really good signs.
Really good signs.
Now, what about Nick Floston? Because he came back in. How did he go?
Yeah, pretty solid. His first quarter, I thought, was fantastic. Our backline in that first quarter, all across the board. I think Nathan Broad and Jake Batchelor as well. But Nick Floston playing in a bit of a half-back role looked really solid. A lot of confidence in his ability coming back. Another one of these guys coming back.
He didn't
injury.
look troubled by the shoulder at all?
No, a couple of don't argues, in fact, Greeners in the first quarter. So he's putting a lot of faith in it indeed. He's another one of those guys. Obviously, half-back, you never know. This week might be another position that's looked reinforced. Maybe the only thing that could plague him is that the inconsistency of games that he has played. He did miss the one against Essendon, but a pretty solid performance, especially, like I say, in that first quarter out at Beaconsfield, means he's certainly putting his hat in the ring for senior selection.
What about Shea Bolton back playing last week? Had a week off. How did he go?
Pretty good, Shea. Again, I think Casey, one of the areas that they really did identify was that he can be quite damaging on his day, and they did for the most part of the second half. I thought they kept him quiet pretty well. But one of the particular highlights I found in the second quarter, Shea's taken a mark about 30 out directly in front from goal. He's run in pretty straight, and then as soon as he's got to the man on the mark and feigned about to kick, he's actually sold the candy to the bloke on the mark and run into an open goal square. So he had a bit of fun with him.
He's got
a
some
little
tricks.
bit cheeky, so he does have a couple of tricks. So that sort of flair was good to see. And for a pretty decent crowd out at Beaconsfield, I think that would have been a particular highlight for him.
Absolutely.
It was fantastic.
For sure.
And a couple of the other, it seems like everybody came back this week, but Corey Ellis and Oleg Markov from Corky and senior duties respectively, how did they fit back into the VFL?
Yeah, Corey I thought was a very steadying factor for us in that first half, especially in the first quarter. I think the only thing that was really getting to us was a bit of inaccuracy. At the end of the first quarter, we were sitting about 1-5, and Corey's actually gone back and slotted a set shot from about 45 out, which was really impressive, and that was a steadier, providing a bit of a platform to go on in that second quarter where we really took the game away from Casey, and after that, it was never really a contest. So Corey was fantastic in that sense. Lega probably would have preferred to have a bit more of an impact in his return, but still pretty studious from him, always providing that great bit of dash off half-back, which combining with Nick Vostone was really impressive. So I think it's difficult to say whether Oleg will push his claim this week, But certainly he's shown great signs that he is ready to take that opportunity further down the track also if it does present.
What about young Soldo in the ruck? Because he would have come up against Jake Spencer. How did he go?
That's right. So Jake Spencer, probably one of the more high-profile opponents that he's faced so far this year, Soldo, but did pretty well. 41 hitouts is the end of the stat that we've got, which he actually did end up beating Jake Spencer in that as well.
I thought feather in his cap then. Yeah.
I thought that really stood out was that his work across the ground was really impressive. A couple of weeks, sometimes you see him rotate forward a bit and maybe just can't match a few of the more experienced ruckmen as they go across the ground. But he got a lot of mileage. He covered it really well. And I think that's certainly going to bode well for him, having that extra, as you say, that extra feather under his cap for the next few weeks moving forward.
Well, beautiful, mate. Very comprehensive. Another very good VFL result. What do we got this week?
We're going out to Frankston for our next one, a road trip out there to face Werribee, and I think...
Frankston? We're playing Werribee in Frankston.
Whose home
What's
game
going
is it?
on there?
Oh, you're asking the wrong
Whose
person.
home game is
I
it?
think Werribee's ground is out of action for the year, isn't
Something
it?
like that. So they've chosen a ground that's literally as
sewage
far away from
problems or-
Werribee as possible.
It's not real close for their supporters, is
I
it?
would have thought so. I might get the ferry across.
Pretty
Ah,
rough.
beautiful.
Can I just the Fred Astaire will be doing good things out there, Lou.
The Fred Astaire.
Yeah, you're Fred Astaire.
You're Fred
Look at
Astaire.
the Fred Astaire's looking good, mate.
And I need to have a word
Oh,
with
is that
Roland
right.
because it's very warm in here, and you're getting a bit John Paul Getty under the Warwick Farms too. So I have to have a word with Roland about that.
He's got no
Turn the
idea.
heating down.
Lou, thanks again, mate.
Yeah,
Good on
no
you,
worries,
mate.
guys.
So
Cheers.
you've cut the Fred Astaire, haven't you?
I have cut it a little
looks
bit.
sharp.
Thank you.
He's just not quite across the rhyming slang as he
needs
walks
to,
in.
I've got a book at home, I think, of Australian rhyming slang. I'll need to lend it to him.
Gee, the Bobby Lutz is doing a bit too. Hey, Bailey's on. Bailey's online here now.
Yes.
Bailey, this is your moment. Good to have you here today, mate. I hope you've enjoyed a bit of work experience.
Yeah.
You got a stump greeners for us?
Yeah.
Go with it, mate. Go with it.
When's the last time Richmond bet Fitzroy in Melbourne, and how much by?
Oh, a few layers on that.
Jeez.
I was at this game.
Yeah, I played in it.
So I have to get the whole lot right, don't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't reckon you get the margin
they beat
right.
them. They beat them in 1996
Yeah,
in
that's
their
right.
second last game.
Yeah.
And I think Richo kicked 7 and Benny Gale kicked 6.
Yeah, but what's the margin, Bailey said?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll say 116 points.
No.
Oh.
Got him! well done,
Bailey.
Now, hang
What
around,
was
mate.
it? What was the margin?
Oh boy,
How much?
Oh, there you go.
187
Jeez, there you go. It
to
was
36.
Fair way off. Well done, mate.
Well done, Bailey. Got a
Good
T-shirt.
stuff.
We'll
There you go.
grab that before you go home, mate.
Put it in the mail.
There goes the cans, making a bit of noise there, Bailey. Good stuff. This isn't, but that was.
Oh, righto. Okay. I know you want me to rush through it, all right? So I can rush through it because this time 50 years ago, next weekend, we actually did. We had a bye. So we're coming off the loss to Essendon. It was a bad loss at Windy Hill, and we didn't play the next
Didn't
week.
know they had buys.
No, well, they did. Yeah, I wasn't sure about it. But anyway, so from the age-leading football writer at the time, Ron Carter, wrote this. So this is how much footy's changed because this is no big deal today. But he said then, Richmond's 5 selectors will hold a special meeting tonight to review the Tigers team before the next match on Saturday week. Richmond selectors have decided to meet tonight while Saturday's loss at Essendon is still fresh in their minds. So making out that it was such a big deal, even though we weren't playing for another week, that they would meet. And,
Really?
yeah, and Graham Richmond was quoted as saying, there is certainly no rest for the selectors this week, although there is no game. They will meet tomorrow night to review the whole situation and team placings. We have good players returning to form with the reserves and others coming back after injuries. Places have to be found for them in the side. Anyway, your old man was getting back from asthma. He had severe
that's
asthma,
right. Yeah.
so he was back training after a couple of weeks out. Royce had gone back to Tassie for a weekend. Mr. Richmond said that Hart had been under a lot of strain recently and it was time he had a rest. So there you go. And Billy Barrett also was absent from training the week. He had a loss of weight because he'd been advised by the doctor and then not to train until the following Tuesday. So
What, he got crook, Billy, did he?
Billy had been a bit crook too, yeah. So
Bit butcher's
there you
hook.
go. But just a couple of things that were happening around the world back in
butcher's hook.
a bit butchers. He was a bit butchers in the comics, I think. Yeah, in the comic cuts. Now, next on July 16, which is only a few days away, one of the world's great actors, comedic actors, turns 50. Who would that be?
Back then.
No. He turns
They were
50
born.
in a week's time. He was born in 67 on July 16th.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Adam Sandler.
No, Will Ferrell.
Oh,
One of the all-time greats.
Gold streaking!
He turns 50, all right. And who now, of course, we're in the middle of, nearing the end of Wimbledon.
Yes.
Who won the men's Wimbledon back in 67?
Rod Laver.
No, John Newcombe. John Newcombe beat the West German Wilhelm Bungert in straight sets, which brings me to my old gag too, hear about the East German pole vaulter. He's now West German. You can't get away with gags like that anymore. And the women's, who won the women's singles back then? Who won the women's singles?
Yvonne Gould.
No, Billie Jean King. There you go. Beat England's Anne Hayden-Jones in straight sets.
Okay, thank you.
Go.
Got 1 minute, mate.
Oh, right, okay.
Greg's waiting for me.
Well,
up
that's
there.
all right. He can wait. Bailey will enjoy these. He will really enjoy these. I got hit by freezing rain the other day, and it hurt like hail. A mate of mine's got a pet Dalmatian, and he took it for a walk in his local park the other day, and he let it off the lead. It just so happened that the park ranger happened to be there and issued him with a spot fine. How can you make a waterbed? You've got a waterbed, haven't you?
No.
Oh,
Why
okay.
would I have a
I thought you're the type of person that would ponce
Who
around.
has a waterbed?
I thought you'd ponce around in one. How do you make a waterbed more bouncy?
How?
Fill it with spring water.
Oh,
What
Bailey's
does
old man's not happy with these guys.
They're good dad jokes. They're good dad jokes. What do snakes put on their kitchen floors?
What?
Reptiles.
Oh, gosh. Rhett's not happy. This
Don't
is
like
the biggest audience we've ever had in here.
Why was the broom late to its appointment?
No, I'm not sure.
Because it overswept.
Oh, jeez.
And I'll leave you with this,
Last
all
one,
right?
please.
No, I'll just leave you this thought. Isn't it great to live in the 21st century where deleting history has become more important than making it?
It's deep.
That's too much for me. I don't even
Very
get
philosophical.
And topical.
that one. I don't get it.
Very topical.
Oh, thanks, boys. That's Talking Tigers again for another week. Thanks to the big studio audience we've got in here today. This is a little bit of Bob Marley to send you out on. We'll be back next week. Thanks, Bailey, for all your help
Good
today.
on you, Bailey. Thanks,
That's
mate.
Talking Tigers. We'll
Go Tigers.
speak to you soon.
Bounce back.
Emancipate.